What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I want to give a shout out to Caden over on my Discord. By the way, just and you didn't know I have a Discord, but I have a section on my Discord called Video Suggestions where folks can just drop me information about things they think I might be interesting to make future videos on. You can also always feel free to email me or send me a message on any various social media with any news or things you might think I might not know about or that you might think I might want to make a video on or something like that. Again, I don't mind. Even if you think someone's already sent it to me, please send it to me anyway. The more information you're able to get to me is the more opportunity I'll be able to make a video on it and maybe inform someone who didn't know about it. But this is all about the D&D The Book of Dragons, which is apparently a book coming out in August that I don't think any of us have heard about, and it's written from the perspective of Bahamut and Tiamat, apparently. So there was a tweet that came out today, and this is what I was given, referenced by over on my Discord. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at said tweet here, and there's a video, which we'll watch, and then we can actually take a look and see if we can gather any more information from the actual pre-order page. So here is the tweet, right? It says, at DK Books is delighted to announce the Book of Dragons coming soon, written from the perspectives of Tiamat and Bahamut, the mighty dragon gods themselves. It's the ultimate guide to our favorite scaled friends and foes. So let's go ahead and watch here. Dragons are not in your world, you're in theirs, from Fizban the Fabulous. Tiamat, Ultimate Draconic Compendium. Written from the perspectives. Kind of reminds me of like the old ology books, if you know, the like Dragonology and stuff like that. Coming out in August, written by Michael Whitwer. If that name is familiar, he's written several different different books. I think he wrote Art and Arcana and like a lot of those style of books. Also Sam Witwer's brother, I believe. Sam Witwer being basically Maul in Darth Maul in like the Clone Wars series. He was Star Killer. He's done a bunch of other stuff as well. But anyway, so here is the link to DK Books listing for it. Its MSRP here is set for $40. Looks like you can pre-order it from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc. About D&D The Book of Dragons. This definitive guide unveils the rich lore, diverse types, and legendary characters of the Dragon Realm. Essential for every D&D fan, it offers unparalleled insights into these iconic creatures that for decades have been the heart and soul of the game. Elevate your campaigns and deepen your knowledge. Discover why the Book of Dragons is a must-have for every adventurer collection. And for every adventurer's collection. So that's it. We do have a couple of pictures we might be able to glean. Okay, here we go. Oh, we can actually, they have good clarity, so we can actually zoom in, right? So diverse dragons, right? While dragons come in all shapes and sizes and colors, one thing they all have in common is they are capable, they are a force of and beyond nature, capable of annihilating virtually any mortal and sometimes immortal creatures that comes into their path. So we can see we have all of our chromatics here on this side. We have all of our metallics on this side. This is showcasing their newest artwork. But if you look down here, other dragon types, while there has been much debate as to what encompasses true dragons, it is generally agreed that the category includes any that grow in power as they age. This broad definition includes not only chromatics and metallics, but many other types such as gem dragons, fairy dragons, shadow dragons, and sometimes even dragon constructs and undead dragons like the Dracolich and Ghost Dragon. They even have a little artwork here of the Shardolin dragon. So interesting that we were getting flat out references to gem dragons and other creatures here, but I doubt they're going to be covered in this book, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay. First of all, this piece of artwork is just absolutely epic. So you can see here again from Tiamat, rise, my child of crimson death, nest vain worm on ill-gotten gain, may greatness and infernal breath consume the plains in fiery rain. Getting some serious fourth wing Iron Throne vibes here. Or Iron Rain. But anyway, let's see. Red Dragons, Draco Conflagratio Horribilis. Okay, so apparently they do have scientific names. I don't know who out there is categorizing taxonomy for dragons, but apparently Conflagratio Horribilis is the scientific name for red dragons. Or Draco is in the front there, but right. So introduction: arrogant and destructive, red dragons are the tyrants of the dragon world, vain even by dragon standards. Their desire for power and wealth is only matched by their lust for violence. With tempers that burn almost as hot as their fiery breath, they are inclined to incinerate anyone and anything that comes into their imposing presence. When it comes to sheer power and ferocity, red is king. Dubbed flame dragons or fireworms due to their devastating incandescent breath, these creatures sit high atop their cave-filled mountains, figuratively and literally looking down upon all other creatures. An apex predator in every sense of the word, their massive and muscular crimson bodies seem to have little natural camouflage in any environment other than their volcanic lairs where they need such protection least. Their bodies reek of smoke and sulfur, but they will usually show themselves long before one can catch their scent. Unlike some of their chromatic kin, they prefer to assert their power and dominance head on, forging tricks, traps, and complex tactics unbecoming of their raw power and presence. Such maneuvering is beneath them, just as they believe all living things should be. Okay. Then we have actual, like, so this is what we wanted in Fizban's, a Draconomicon style book that actually has all of this stuff, right? Here's the anatomy of a red dragon's. Um, Made in the image of Great Tiamat's primary head and body, red dragons consider themselves chosen to rule in her name with good reason. Their raw size and strength dwarf virtually all other dragons, chromatic or otherwise, and they possess the largest claws and longest wingspan. With eyes that burn as molten lava, their distinctive diamond-shaped scales change from a bright crimson to a dull deep red as they thicken in age, becoming impenetrable armor. The flame dragon is a true force of nature that prefers brute strength and ground melee to high energy breath and aerial tactics, but is perfectly happy to incinerate any creatures that dares challenge their supremacy. So, eyes of fire, protected by an extremely tough nictitating. Is that what it says? Membrane, allowing the dragon. It's the same thing like a crocodile has. Allowing the dragon to maintain full vision when flying at high speeds or breathing fire. Made to last, with by far the longest wingspan of any dragon, the fire-resistant wing membrane of the red dragon is especially thick, made to withstand high winds and air speeds without ripping. Steered like normal sails by long and muscular wing arms, the fireworm's wings are clearly built to last. Let's see. We can see when it comes to the wingspan, I actually have actual foot and meter measurements of the length and width of the dragon showing their wingspan. At upwards of 150 feet across, red dragons can glide nearly forever on their long bat-shaped wings, casting ominous shadows over villages and victims who will likely never see the sun. Here we have a little bit showcasing a person next to a dragon. Crown of horns. There seem to be no vulnerabilities upon the cranial area of the red dragon, known for its distinctive swept horns and great spinal frill. Their reptilian head is perversely majestic, perhaps as Tiamat so crowned it. Sharp hornlets cover their nose, snout, and chin, while massive and powerful jaws hide a long forked tongue, which itself hides fire beyond death. And then here it is over here. Fearsome furnace. There are few things in the multiverse more destructive and deadly than the breath of a red dragon. A 120-foot stream of scorching fire, virtually nothing can withstand its magically imbued devastation. Even powerful artifacts and legendary entities, once thought invincible, such as the infamous Crystal Shard, fail to withstand an elder red dragon's blast. But igniting their breath weapon is an exhausting chore and sometimes something of a last resort to this creature, who finds it use a garish and unnecessary demonstration of its supremacy. Did not know that. That's kind of cool. Why take such pains when you can so easily and nearly end nearly any skirmish with a quick flick of your spined tail or a slash of your massive talons? Okay. Oh, so it just really has all. Was it go blue dragons? Okay. So we have a little bit here showcasing the egg and how the wormlings don't have that horn on their nose. Here's some adults, right? So I guess we're just gonna go through this, what we got here, right? We got a few more pictures. I think I even see a gem dragon in there, so that's kind of cool. Okay, blue dragons. To those who study the blue dragon, its behavior and motivations are among the most complex and nuanced of all dragon kind. While most of these creatures choose to follow the path of their ancestor, Tiamat, there are many examples of those who have chosen a different way. Even among the Tiamat faithful, they bear many traits that confuse and astound observers. Committed and engaged parents, blue dragons seem to have powerful instinct to ensure their societies will thrive and survive, protecting their young even at the cost of their own lives. They are also surprisingly family and community oriented, often supporting and sharing territory with other adult and ancient dragons of their clan, unheard of behaviors among their chromatic siblings. Also, something I didn't know. Nonetheless, power corrupts, and such is the case with the majority of blue dragons. They live for power, domination, and superiority, and won't tolerate alternative viewpoints, so much so that loose lipped follower may well lose their lives for such insolence. While they maintain an affinity for beauty of nature and object, avarice and opulence tend to win over their instincts and motivations. To the blue dragon, a fine painting becomes more about its worth than who they won it from and the power it suggests than any of its inherent beauty or artistic merits. Fiercely territorial, they mercilessly rain down terror upon all who pass, often for food, but sometimes for pleasure. The rule of thumb among wise desert travelers is once you smell the odor of burning air and ozone, the distinctive scent of a blue dragon, it's probably too late. So this is definitely the new artwork, but this here in the cave, this is 2014 Blue Dragon artwork. Okay, layers and hordes, burrow deep below desert sands and sometimes up into natural rock cliffs and spires. It is the blue dragon's lair. Its home in every sense of the word. Surprisingly elegant, these multi-tiered warrens are well ordered and decorated. Cool colors such as purple and green often adorn their generous tunnels and comfortable rooms, but the unsurprising star of the show is the prevalence of blue, especially among the horde itself. To the blue dragon, there's no treasure more precious than the sapphire. Again, something also I didn't know. But they appreciate all manner of gems, coins, jewelry, and fine artworks, anything that proves power and prestige. While their hoard is sometimes displayed in an upper chamber, their greatest treasures are typically found in or around its lowest cavern, which makes the chance of successful plunder especially tenuous. Blue dragons build their lairs to collapse if necessary, seemingly comfortable with the idea of burrowing out and collecting their possessions and those of the crushed intruders afterwards. That is something I think often gets overlooked, that blue dragons do in fact have that burrow speed. One of my most memorable dragon combats is when the party got into a fight where they thought they were just in the middle of like it was Neverwinter, Luskin, something like that. Got into a fight and bursting out of the ground, like there was a big warehouse and they were going to go into the warehouse, and bursting out of the big warehouse was a blue dragon that had burrowed underground. I had to kind of like you know, just a surprise. Like it was under the entrance to the tunnel was they built like the temporary house kind of around it so they could like surprise them. I don't know. It was just a cool time. But enemies, blue dragons have many enemies, but none more despised than brass dragons. Scholars believe these creatures are natural rivals because they compete for the same territory. That makes sense. Habitat. Here we have I don't love this piece of art, but it is what it is. Sunshine and sand seem to be the draw for blue dragons who prefer to roam arid, hot climates with little vegetation and exposed prey. But with cool desert evenings, these creatures prefer to make their homes in the warm sands beneath the desolate landscape. They employ their mighty talons and devastating lightning breath to burrow crystallized tunnels and caverns deep beneath the surface, protecting them and their massive hordes from intruders and the raging storms that seem to follow them wherever they go. It lists off a couple of notable blue dragons here. Emirth from Storm King's Thunder, Lenithon, Blue Bane of Greenest, the ones from Horde of the Dragon Queen. Kalendros is one I'm not super familiar with off the top of my head. Sparkrender is the one from Stormwreck Isle, the new starter set. Aragathos. So this is the one trapped under the mountain in Waterdeep Dragon Heist. And Olothantor, I'm not familiar with either, but all right. Let's see. Whoops, wait, go back. What else we have? Food and diet. Blue dragons have a taste for red meat, which they typically source from herds of desert animals such as camels and unfortunate travelers. Absolutely necessary they will resort to desert vegetation such as cacti. All right, and then lastly, protective parents. Blue dragons are curious creatures, even by dragon standards. They are also surprisingly talkative, even gregarious at times, but it's typically in service to exerting their dominance from a social and psychological perspective. Nonetheless, they're the most sociable of chromatic dragons and seem to have a strong instinct toward family. They take great care in hiding their eggs in desert sands and guard them fiercely. They're equally involved with the rearing of their wormlings, and they even tend to stay close to their elders. This clan mentality also carries over to any type of conflict, where an affront to one becomes an affront to all. That makes for an excellent dragon based encounter. If these blue dragons, as they're saying, are so family oriented, like you piss off one blue dragon, now you piss off the clan, and a clan of blue dragons would be one hell of a fight. All right, we have Inferno. Is this just a specific red dragon? Name uh Im Invernaharo, aka Inferno, red great worm from the Star Mounts in the High Forest. Again, some of these they usually have like a name that's in more draconic based and then a more generic name. So this is, I guess, a specific dragon here. We have some language here from Tiamat, but arrogant and aloof, the red dragon known as Imvarnaharo perches in his mountain lair, silently watching the broken world with perverse pleasure. Nicknamed Inferno by small folk, the dragon is aptly named for he boasts not only a breath weapon of fiery devastation, but can produce similar results through his nearly unmatched mastery of fire magic. He demands little of the world, and the world gets back even less in return. He has a voracious appetite, but with access to a magic portal that brings him to a private Faerunian reserve teeming with tasty wild beasts, he has little trouble filling his massive belly. With treasures beyond imagination, the elder Great Worm spends much of his time these days studying the secrets of Netherese magic, that's terrifying, as well as observing worldly failures of his own entertainment, even employing scrying magic to get the juicy details. From wars, famine, and disease to affairs, betrayals, and murder, it's all a scintillating show for this twisted creature. When the plot gets too dry, depraved Inferno will gladly spice it up, but rarely through physical intervention. Rather, he prefers to stir the pot by planting the seeds of discord among his agents with whom he communicates through magic. A denizen of the lofty star mounts, Mighty Inferno quietly holds court in an anonymous side peak, keeping watch over his many nearby lairs and hordes. Wizard Elminster Omar, the legendary sage of Shadowdale, has estimated the dragon's wealth at nearly a dozen million, the well-earned spoils from a lifetime of plunder. Whether true or not, the dragon's reclusiveness has made him the subject of many a rumor. One such tale is that he dwells with the massive horde upon Angaroth, the highest peak of the Star Mounts. The truth is far more insidious. After conquering that location from a rival dragon, he transformed it into a decoy lair full of deadly obstacles and death traps to lure ambitious adventurers and watch them suffer painful deaths for his own enjoyment. Such is the twisted nature of the dragon called Inferno. A towering range of peaks set deep within the high forest. The Star Mounts are the perfect home for a reclusive red dragon. Located northeast of Waterdeep, the mountains are virtually inaccessible to all but the bravest explorers, while offering endless views to soulless dragons who wish to look down upon humanity. Mighty Inferno possesses a mastery of fire through both his scorching breath weapon as well as his practice of arcane magic. For his enemies, his fiery breath weapon doesn't get them. His subsequent fireball spell probably will. And here are his key attributes. Power. A red dragon, as well as great and powerful as any Inferno, spent his younger years terrorizing residents of the Sword Coast with his brute force in the interest of amassing treasure for his horde. Intellect. It is no surprise that red dragons possess great talents of intellect, but it is rare for any to fully exercise these abilities. Inferno's curiosity and hunger for knowledge has made him not only a force of raw power, but also arcane magic. Avarice. Inferno collected so much treasure over the centuries that it took multiple layers to hold it. Today, his greed burns for knowledge, secrets, and twisted entertainment. Perversity. Inferno's desire to watch death and tragedy are beyond immoral, but downright perverse. He goes to great pains rather, to exacerbate worldly troubles and then joyfully observe the bitter fallout. I gotta tell you, I'm loving this book. This is definitely gonna be something I'm gonna want for my collection, but you wanna get something nice for your dungeon master, or maybe, like, for me, also, my kids would probably love this just as, like, a cool book about dragons. This is what I wanted, like, this kinda stuff, but then with mechanics is what I wanted Fizban's to be, similar in nature to what the Draconomicon was. While it had a lot more all of this cool, interesting lore stuff, it also had a lot of cool, mechanical stuff. But yeah, this is just phenomenal, and we still have a couple more pages to go through. I'm loving this. I'm 100% gonna buy this book. I recommend you do as well. Alright, so here we have a silver dragon. This is another specific dragon. This is Haverlon, right? Also known as Lady Haverlon, Barb of the Talons of Justice, and is a wandering died 1373. So this silver dragon here, she died. Virtuous and brave, the silver dragon known as Haverlon flew headfirst into battle, risking her very existence to protect all that is good. Dubbed the Barb of the Talons of Justice, she led the righteous silver dragon order of self-proclaimed paladins who oppose evil and tyranny in all forms. A committed follower of Bahamut, Haverlon wielded powers usually reserved only for priests and warriors of faith, such as magical protections from evil and the ability to terrify and turn away the undead. She was equally zealous about the Platinum Dragon's Patarian code, devoting her life and breath to uphold its virtues of justice, goodness, and honor. A fierce protector of humanity, Lady Haverlon was known to travel the realms in the polymorph form of her favorite species, usually a powerful female warrior with silver blonde hair. Without a lair to guard, the mighty Silver endlessly wandered and watched for acts of tyranny, and always answered the call when the forces of good united. When the Lich Samaster founded the Cult of the Dragon, it triggered a Rage of Dragons, an event where dragons are afflicted with uncontrollable destructive madness. Haverlon played witness to the tragic battle between the Lords Lareth and Tamarand, the King of Justice position, for the King of Justice position, then bolstered the new king's ranks in the ensuing conflicts against the Master and his dragons. Haverland led her beloved Talons of Justice into final battle, where she charged the Master to break down the Lich's nearly impenetrable magical defenses, losing her life in the process. Her iconic efforts allowed her allies to defeat the Lich and finally end the rage. Rage of Dragons. This is another piece of Faerunian history, but long ago, a group of powerful elven mages created a powerful or magical war to protect Faerun from the ongoing threat of dragons, which became known as the Draco Rage Mythal. It is believed the Mythal harnessed the power of a rare but reoccurring comet called the King Killer Star, which would drive all true dragons into uncontrollable rampage of madness when it appeared over the realms. When the Cult of the Dragon founder and Lich Master bound his phylactery to the Mythal capstone, it triggered a rage of dragons independent of the celestial event. Samaster would use the year-long rage to attempt to seize control over all dragons and Toril with them, but failed due to the valiant efforts of an alliance of brave metallics and humanoid heroes. By the way, this piece of art with this black like shadow dragon fighting was so cool. Patarian Code. Thought to be developed by Bahamut himself, the Patarian Code is a strict honor system adopted as the traditional oath taken by the King of Justice. Over time, the honor system became popular among Gold Dragon Society as well as their greatest allies, the Silver. Its primary tenets are justice, goodness, and honor. Today, no group of dragons takes this code more seriously than the Order of Silver Dragon Paladins known as the Talons of Justice. And her powers were bravery. When the powerful Lich who commanded the Rage of Dragons needed to be stopped, Haverlon was first in line to meet the call. Honor, a committed follower of the Patarian Code. Haverlon valued justice, goodness, and honor above all else. A charity, paladin of Bahamut, Haverlon sought not wealth, not to expand her hoard, but instead she donated her treasure to his cause and glory. And justice, Haverlon valued law, order, and justice above even kindness and mercy, and her battle-scarred form proved it. See, this is awesome. Like, who wouldn't want to have this in their collection? All right, next up. Yo, Sapphire Dragons, they are getting some love in the form of gem dragons. We love to see that. Also, is this new Sapphire Dragon art? Because we got all the updated artwork for the dragons in 2024. I don't think we've seen this particular piece of art for Sapphire Dragons before, so this might be new. Okay. Feral and muscular, the Sapphire Dragon is a perfectly formed to dominate deep caverns where creepy things crawl and foul things lurk. Its eyes can see perfectly in the blackness, but it doesn't seem to need them as the very rocks and creatures of the dark obey its command. Bobbing curiously above its head and swan-like neck are the dragon's horn tips, which stir at the creature's changing moods and thoughts. Everything about the adult sapphire dragon screams magnificence, but isn't always so. The wormlings of the species come out a homogeneous opaque blue, but as the creature ages and grows, its scales become mottled and translucent, contributing to the dizzying shimmer of the remarkable coat. While it most often crouches in anticipation of battle, even situated upon its legs, ancient sapphire dragons can stand 16 feet high, towering over virtually anything that might invade its lair. Their muscular frames, meanwhile, comfortably hold up to 160,000 pounds. While the wing membranes of most gem dragons are lighter colored and dull compared to their scales, the wing membrane of the sapphire is every bit as striking as its coat, featuring a kaleidoscope of deep blues as if a pane of fine stained glass in the light. Tactician and soldier. Unlike other gem dragons, the sapphire dragon is a creature of conflict and warfare. Accordingly, the creature is perfectly suited to serve as both general and warrior, featuring a mind made for tactics and a body built for destruction. Able to climb effortlessly about walls and ceilings, ambushes are this dragon's specialty, emerging with devastating claw and bite attacks. If melee proves unwise, the creature can teleport across the cavern and then telekinetically fling large objects at its foes, such as boulders or furniture. Should that fail to deter its enemies, the sapphire is left little choice but to unleash its breath weapon, which is actually a sonic pulse of high-pitched energy that is known to incapacitate or even shatter eardrums and kill. Very cool. And here we have the size, right? The wings of a sapphire dragon are compact but powerful, allowing the creature to soar around great underground caverns. However, like its gem cousins, it does not usually choose to use its tail as a weapon for fear of losing its telekinetically connected sapphire barbs. Inhabitants of endless rocky tunnels deep below the surface, sapphire dragons choose lairs that are well defended and virtually inaccessible to humanoids. The dragon is quick to identify all potential vulnerabilities and will remedy them through its skill with tunneling and elemental mastery over stone, even shaping walls with its mind. The result will be an unconquerable honeycomb of secret passages, pitched tunnels, dead ends, lethal traps, and even dangerous vermin, all enabling the dragon to move about unseen or ambush and slaughter intruders. Should the invaders be lucky enough to locate the horde, they will find themselves either better equipped to take on the creature, for it is riddled with perfectly cataloged magical weapons and armor, as well as military histories, tomes of tactics, and artifacts of psychic protection. Of course, the ambitious adventurer will need to pass through solid stone to get at it. Well, for certain wizards, passing through solid stone is easy, but either way. Next up, I think we have amethyst dragons. This is new art. This is brand new. Yo, we better be getting these in the Forgotten Realms book. That's all I'm saying. This is sick. Dude, I love this. All right, amethyst dragons. Few dragons are as awe-inspiring in form and function as the amethyst dragon. Massive in size, yet gentle in demeanor, this creature's coat of roughly hewn amethyst scales and spines seems to grow gently with a light of their very own. Meanwhile, amethyst spikes and horns levitate above the creature, held in place by telekinetic powers, even shifting with the creature's mood and psychic activity. While striking as adults, their wormlings are less so, hatching as a dull and opaque purple, but even as their attentive parents teach them that it is what's on the inside that counts. Their bodies transform until their exterior finally matches their the very vibrancy of their minds. Wing, thumbs, and fingers. The amethyst's wings membrane are supported by a superstructure of thick external wing fingers. Tears in the membranes seem to have little effect on their ability to carry the creature, while the light purple interior allows the creature to blend in with dusk and night skies. Similar in size to reds and silvers, the dense and muscular amethyst dragon can stand more than 20 feet high on its hind legs and weigh over 1 million pounds. However, these creatures are so rare, their average size is uncertain. While amethyst dragons always prefer to negotiate than fight, those who deny the creature their former option will regret it. The creature's gargantuan frame is covered in jagged amethysts and bolster its defenses, as do its mighty melee strikes of bite and claw. However, the creature is more likely to confuse and diffuse in a combat situation with an array of potential psionic powers that can be used for defense, escape, or attack. If all else fails, the creature has access to two extraordinary breath weapons, one that wields the power of gravity into a forceful attack on all within 90 feet. The other, a deadly rain of exploding amethyst crystals that reaches targets 60 feet away. All right, let's see what else we got. Here's the breath weapon in action. Here's the scale. A curiosity to scholars of natural laws, the vaguely rectangular wing shape of the amethyst dragon shouldn't be able to move the creature through this air as they do. Many speculate that the creature uses a combination of wing power and its natural gifts over gravity to optimize its aerial mobility. And then layers and hordes located in caves near placid mountain lakes and still pools in the lair and still pools is the lair of the amethyst dragon. Teeming with softly glowing clusters of amethyst crystals, the cave complex is a maze of tunnels punctuated by grand open spaces. Due to the creature's amphibious respiration, at least one of the entrances will usually be submerged, with both deters humanoid interlopers and prevents ready access to its preferred food supply of fresh fish. The dragon's inner sanctum is inaccessible to any who cannot teleport beyond tunnels that dead end. Those who can will observe a hoard of unimaginable beauty, sparkling with countless gems and crystals, especially amethysts in raw or refined form. While some silvery coins may be present, the dragon's true treasures are the stacks of ancient books, tablets, scrolls, tapestries, and fine artworks from long lost civilizations. Each holds a clue to the dragon's preferred area of study or provides practical magical guidance on manipulating the physical laws of the multiverse. Dude, so cool. And the artwork is just absolutely amazing. All right, last one here is bronze dragons, and then that's all the info we have. It is a rare sight to ever see a bronze dragon in its true form, but those that do will quickly understand them to be a marvel of metalcraft. Among the smallest and most reptilian of the metallic dragons, the creature's thick, smooth scales encase its bodies in a burnished glow, handsomely dappled with green oxidation. These textures are contrasted by its heavily spined and fluted crest, which runs from the top of its many horned head to its thick paddle like tail. With large webbed feet and ribbed fins upon its underside and tail, the amphibious bronze dragon is the greatest swimmer of the metallics, yet its mobility is not restricted to water. Long leaf like wings are supported by heavy infrastructure of wing hands and rib like bones that allow the creature to soar just as easily above the sparkling coastal areas they call home. The profile of the bronze dragon is among the most striking and dramatic of any dragon. A shock of sweeping black horns is crowned in the center by the creature's distinctive fluted crest, while its jowls are adorned by a spined and ribbed frill. Hiding a long, pointed tongue and razor sharp teeth, the dragon's great chin juts out like the beautifully carved figureheads of the schooners it loves to observe with its brilliant sea green eyes. Where the bronze dragon's wings and hands terminate, a secondary set of ribbing frames the center and exterior of the wing, providing needed support for the long wing structure. Muscular and stocky, elder bronze dragons stand about 10 feet high on their webbed haunches. In spite of their shorter stature, they match the weight of most of their metallic kin, topping out at roughly 160,000 pounds. It is unwise to engage a bronze dragon in the field, air, or water of combat, for bronzes adore the art of war and pride themselves for their tactical proficiency. When an unnatural fog rolls in, wise enemies know that the bronze dragon is close, bracing themselves for a devastating bite, claw, or tail lashing. What is harder to prepare for is the dragon's dual breath weapon, which can fire a stream of deadly lightning or a cone of energy that somehow pushes enemies away. These virtuous dragons are more inclined to use the latter. We can see, again, wingspan and things. The heavily reinforced leaf shaped wings of the bronze dragon are as good for navigating the air as the seas. Relative to the creature's body, its wings and tail are substantially longer than most of its metallic kin, both of which undergo significant oxidation due to their heavy use in wet environments. And then lastly, here, fluted frill. The bronze dragon's heavily spined and fluted frill is among the highest of any dragon and serves as an effective top fin in underwater environments. This makes the fullness of the tail structure an exceptional paddle or rudder. So there you go, folks. That is everything we have here on the Bronze Dragon. That's all the preview pages we have of the upcoming Book of Dragons that'll be dropping in August. It sounds like an absolutely amazing tome. I would highly recommend picking one up. If not for you, this definitely could be a way to get, if you're trying to get younger family members into Dungeons and Dragons, you hand them this book so they can just kind of gush over the cool art and learn all about the dragons. And then you kind of hit them with, well, we could play a game that has these guys in it and you could fight them or maybe befriend them. Now they're hooked. but I just want it for my shelf because there's so much useful information. I already have campaign ideas and like expanded campaign content that I'm thinking of already just from hearing and reading what we've read so far. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I'll see you all next time.